Okay, so here's a great trick for using digital tools like Photoshop or Procreate or whatever in working on an oil painting. So I've got my photograph of my painting up on the easel. I've squared it up nicely and adjusted things as best as I could to get it to look as much like the painting as possible. And I'm worried about the value structure here. So the first thing I'm going to do is create a black and white layer filter, so I can just see this as just value. And I agree with my initial guess that the contrasts just aren't quite right. So to play with some solutions for that, I'm going to make a new layer, and it is going to be set to overlay mode, which means I can lighten and darken things. And I'm just going to use white and black, just lighten and darken. I'm not going to play with any color at all. So I think this background here, I'm using a big wide soft brush. I think this wall here is just a little dark. I think it'll look nicer if I've got a little more contrast here. I think this window, I want just a couple more hot spots and a little more contrast, a little grounding to this background behind her. Get that a little darker. The underside of this arm, that was too much. The underside of this arm isn't dark enough. The underside of this arm isn't dark enough. The bounce light was way too strong there. And then there's just a couple places where I wish I had a little more contrast, a little more delineation. Pop and grab some attention. Like up in this hair, which is this wild graphic shape, and I just want to give it a little more punch. Take that a more authoritative dark. And this is probably a little light. I'm going to darken that. What if I darken all of this here? Is that better? Undo. And you know what? I think that is better. I think that should be a little darker. Okay, so in just a couple minutes here, I've changed my value arrangement, and I'm actually a lot happier with it. And the cool thing about this being an overlay layer, if I turn off my black and white filter, these lights and darks aren't just white and black, they're lightening and darkening the colors underneath. So I've got a pretty nice approximation for how this will look in full color. And I think I went a little too white on that wall. I'm going to want to tame that back a little bit, but some other changes I made I think work really nicely. I might come in and say, I wish I had a little stronger highlight in just a couple places on my figure here. This hand, I'd like to bring that up just a little. Great. So now I've been able to test out these changes in an easy and low stakes way, and I can go back to my real painting using this as a guide and work towards the final finished project, and it'll be better and stronger for having taken the time to test some ideas out here in a digital space.